This video covers controversial conspiracy theories for entertainment only. Timestamps are provided, and you can find the link to my new React channel down below. Enjoy the video. The concerning link between organized crime and sports money laundering has drawn increasing scrutiny from financial investigators worldwide. Our investigation revealed odd patterns in global betting markets, with massive spikes in wagering activity traced to shell companies and offshore accounts during major championship matches, particularly during soccer's transfer windows. The unprecedented inflation of player transfer fees, sometimes reaching hundreds of millions, suggests these transactions may serve purposes beyond simple player acquisition. Field observations indicate criminal organizations have begun purchasing lower division teams where they artificially inflate ticket sales and merchandise revenue. These clubs mysteriously receive enormous sponsorship deals from obscure companies that tend to dissolve within months. Examination of betting patterns shows syndicates placing enormous wagers through networks of small-time bookmakers, effectively cleaning illicit funds through legitimate gambling channels. With legal sports betting exceeding $1.5 trillion annually, detecting suspicious transactions becomes nearly impossible. Analysis of emerging technologies suggests cryptocurrency gambling and NFT-based sports collectibles opened new avenues for moving questionable funds. Teams report digital asset sales at staggering prices to anonymous buyers, with proceeds disappearing into complex networks of digital wallets. Reports from multiple sources detail how leagues in developing nations serve as fronts for laundering drug profits. These teams receive mysterious investment capital from abroad and construct lavish facilities, only to abruptly fold once money moves through their accounts. Historical accounts describe how high-profile soccer clubs became entangled with politically exposed persons who funneled embezzled state funds through inflated sponsorship deals. While maintaining plausible deniability, these clubs collected massive payments from companies linked to corruption. The theory known as demonic desires examines unsettling connections between political power, occult rituals, and forbidden indulgences. Our investigation uncovered secret recordings from elite gatherings, where participants chanted in ancient tongues and drew precise symbolic patterns whose meanings remain elusive to this day. Historical accounts describe peculiar markings in documents recovered from closed-door meetings. These symbols, researchers noted, match those found in centuries-old grimoires. Deep beneath the city streets, witness testimonies mention private film screenings held in underground vaults, where the ultra-wealthy congregate to view content deemed too disturbing for public consumption. While missing person reports show notable increases near these locations, local authorities have yet to establish definitive connections. Examination of communications between high-ranking officials reveals discussions of special entertainment delivered in unmarked packages, accompanied by massive financial transfers to untraceable accounts. Field observations indicate frequent use of the term "red room" in these exchanges, mirroring terminology found in the darker corners of the internet. Archived security footage shows robed figures entering government buildings during unusual hours, carrying ornate containers and ceremonial objects. Former employees describe strange sounds echoing through corridors at night, followed by periods when certain areas became strictly inaccessible. Analysis of ancient manuscripts suggests demons offer earthly power in exchange for increasingly sinister acts, creating a growing addiction to evil. These historical accounts find modern parallels in psychiatric research, which demonstrates how power progressively alters behavior, driving individuals to seek ever more extreme experiences for satisfaction. Among the most unsettling surveillance theories emerging in recent years, the concept of unwilling stalkers suggests a dark evolution of government control techniques. Historical accounts describe specialized agents, known as hook operators, who possess the ability to establish remote mental connections with ordinary civilians. Through these psychic links, they transform unknowing citizens into surveillance tools, directing them like silent puppets through crowded streets. Documents from the period show evidence of proxy sight, a classified program where a single operator simultaneously controls up to 12 civilians. Our investigation revealed this creates a living surveillance network capable of monitoring entire neighborhoods through hijacked human senses. Examination of the sites reveals a disturbing pattern. Victims experience inexplicable time losses. What begins as a routine shopping trip dissolves into missing hours. Simple commutes spiral into mysterious detours while their bodies move mechanically under unseen guidance. Analysis of the data suggests these methods evolved from earlier mind control experiments. Yet these operators employ a subtler approach, tapping only into sensory information rather than seizing full control. This refined technique allows their victims to maintain normal lives, unaware of their role as unwitting observers. Field observations indicate the operators harvest their proxies' gathered intelligence during sleep cycles, aided by advanced memory extraction technology. The following morning, targets retain nothing but a lingering sensation of unease. Compiled reports demonstrate how this shadow network of human cameras creates an unprecedented surveillance system. Organic, impossible to trace, and perpetually sustainable. Unlike conventional stalkers who risk psychological breakdown, these unknowing proxies simply continue their daily routines, unconsciously feeding information into the machine of observation. The mysterious practice known as Cruelty Advancement reveals disturbing connections between humanity's oldest texts and modern military development. Research into ancient manuscripts points to stories of the Watchers, fallen angels who traded forbidden knowledge with humans, teaching them everything from weaponry to cosmetics, demanding worship and sacrifice in return. Historical accounts describe how rumors circulated about Nazi scientists entering pacts with supernatural forces. Examination of the sites reveals occult symbolism adorning laboratory walls, while surviving test subjects spoke of dark shapes moving in the shadows during experiments. Field observations indicate similar patterns within Japan's Unit 731, where recovered documents show the chief researcher meticulously recorded encounters with what he called visiting entities following particularly savage experiments. The entities allegedly shared knowledge through dreams. Witness testimonies mention parallel incidents at Soviet facilities, where security personnel reported unexplained illuminations and sounds on nights of extreme testing. Analysis of contemporary military research suggests this pattern continues. Archived materials point to classified facilities developing advanced technology while incorporating strange sigils and markings. Compiled reports demonstrate how staff frequently note major breakthroughs occurring shortly after the most ethically questionable tests, as if some unseen presence rewards their cruelty. Each technological leap appears to demand its price in suffering, perpetuating an ancient cycle where knowledge is purchased with human pain. The tiered humanity theory presents a fascinating perspective on Earth's history, linking our planet's mass extinctions to a cosmic evaluation system. This framework measures civilizations not by their technological achievements or cultural advances, but through their ability to survive systematic challenges. Our investigation revealed an intriguing pattern in ancient cave art spanning multiple continents. These paintings consistently depict similar symbols of superior beings observing from above, suggesting a long-running surveillance of human development. Analysis of past extinction events uncovered peculiar atmospheric and geological irregularities that don't align with natural disaster patterns. These anomalies emerge in a consistent rhythm approximately every 26 million years, pointing to what could be an organized series of trials. Field observations indicate something even more remarkable in deep-sea core samples. Traces of elements foreign to Earth appear precisely at extinction boundaries, only to vanish from the geological record shortly after each mass die-off, as if methodically extracted. Historical accounts describe a compelling connection in ancient Sumerian texts, which speak of watchers who evaluate humanity through great trials. What's particularly striking is how these themes echo across isolated cultures worldwide, each describing advanced beings who maintain their distance until their subjects demonstrate worthiness through survival. examination of deep space radio signals reveals mathematical patterns that align perfectly with Earth's extinction cycle timeline. These transmissions intensify during each theoretical judgment period, suggesting increased observation during these critical phases. Archives point to humanity's current position at the conclusion of our fifth major cycle on this cosmic calendar. This timing might explain the recent surge in UFO sightings and unexplained phenomena. Perhaps we're approaching a graduation of sorts. Though given our track record, we might require some additional testing before advancing to the next tier. The controversial science suppression theory suggests humanity's hidden potential lies buried beneath modern civilization's influence. Historical accounts describe how ancient peoples, sustained by natural diets and untainted environments, accessed extraordinary capabilities that elude us today. Observations indicate a troubling connection between our processed foods and mounting environmental toxins, leading to diminished mental acuity and intuitive abilities. Our investigation revealed that indigenous communities, living far from industrial development, demonstrate remarkably enhanced sensory perception and ability to recognize complex patterns. Examination of the sites reveals an unsettling possibility. Corporations may deliberately introduce specific chemicals into everyday products that inhibit humanity's natural capabilities. These substances potentially block access to dormant abilities like telepathic communication or manipulation of subtle energies. Compiled reports demonstrate fascinating cases where individuals who eliminated artificial substances and adopted purely natural diets experienced unexpected phenomena. They described seeing colorful auras, perceiving others' emotional states, and experiencing prophetic dreams. Archived materials point to these abilities fading once they resumed conventional eating patterns. Analysis of the data suggests our modern environment itself might function as an invisible prison. The combined effects of urban living, processed nutrition, and pervasive electromagnetic frequencies could form an imperceptible barrier, preventing humans from achieving their full potential. This theory offers a compelling explanation for how ancient civilizations accomplished architectural and technological feats that continue to perplex experts in our time. The theory of interplanetary life emerges from intriguing discoveries across our neighboring worlds. Our investigation of Mars revealed ancient waterways carved into its surface, while examination of Venus uncovered evidence of long-lost oceans that existed before its runaway greenhouse effect. These compelling findings suggest these planets may have once shared Earth's life-supporting conditions. Analysis of Martian geological strata shows distinctive patterns matching those created by Earth's primitive bacteria. Field observations indicate the planet's poles still harbor frozen water reserves, while geological samples display mineral alterations typically associated with biological processes. Compiled reports from Venus demonstrate unusual phenomena within its atmospheric layers. Microscopic particles exhibiting behavior similar to terrestrial bacteria, suspended in regions where conditions mirror Earth's surface environment. These particles display light absorption patterns characteristic of biological material. Historical accounts describe even more compelling evidence from Mars. Underground caverns could have provided shelter from harmful radiation, while astronomical data suggests meteor impacts might have facilitated the exchange of life-bearing materials between planets. Archived materials point to Martian meteorites discovered on Earth containing structures remarkably similar to fossilized bacteria. Scientific analysis suggests a fascinating possibility that Mars, Venus, and Earth once shared crucial characteristics: liquid water, moderate temperatures, and substantial atmospheres. Reports from multiple sources detail how a catastrophic cosmic event, perhaps a stellar encounter or massive collision, may have altered the paths of Venus and Mars, leaving Earth as the sole cradle of complex life in our solar system. Consider the intriguing Sentience solution theory, which proposes that our planet serves as part of a grand cosmic survival test. Historical analysis suggests Earth's mass extinctions weren't random disasters, but carefully timed evolutionary filters occurring approximately every 100 million years. We've uncovered evidence of these extinctions following remarkably precise patterns. During the Permian extinction, marine life was decimated, with 95% of species vanishing. Later, the Cretaceous event brought the age of dinosaurs to an abrupt end. Yet somehow, life always emerged stronger, more intricate, more complex. Field observations indicate humanity stands at a unique crossroads. We're the first known species capable of understanding these extinction cycles. By developing the ability to predict, prepare for, and potentially prevent catastrophic events, we may have reached a crucial evolutionary milestone. As some researchers playfully note, we might be facing the universe's ultimate test. Examination of the sites reveals curious anomalies in human development. Our species has made unexplained leaps in technological prowess, consciousness, and social structures, advances that align remarkably well with theoretical extinction timelines. This suggests Earth could be one among many cosmic laboratories for testing intelligent life. Archived materials point to evidence of advanced civilizations appearing and mysteriously vanishing throughout history, possibly representing earlier attempts at achieving true sentience. Each extinction event may have acted as a cosmic reset, clearing the slate for the next experiment in creating self-aware life. Ancient texts from diverse cultures describe mysterious watchers or advanced beings monitoring humanity's development. These accounts support the theory that Earth exists within a broader framework of evolutionary trials, with these observers waiting for definitive proof that a species can identify and overcome extinction-level challenges. The intriguing concept of cosmic censorship pretense emerged as a theory suggesting our universe functions like a meticulously edited film. In this model, reality itself intervenes to prevent forbidden events from fully manifesting, maintaining cosmic order through subtle interventions. Analysis of particle physics experiments uncovered peculiar patterns of self-correction. When outcomes threatened to violate fundamental laws, improbable chain reactions would mysteriously resolve these potential paradoxes. At the Large Hadron Collider, scientists observed particles exhibiting behavior that appeared to deliberately avoid generating micro-black holes or other phenomena that might destabilize reality. Historical accounts describe a fascinating series of close calls, moments where catastrophic events were averted through seemingly impossible coincidences. From nuclear launches that mysteriously failed to doomsday devices that spontaneously malfunctioned, these incidents suggest the presence of an invisible safeguard protecting our timeline. Field observations indicate this mechanism operates in 4 dimensions, functioning like an ever-vigilant cleanup crew that activates whenever universal laws risk violation. Much as a film director might halt a dangerous scene, this cosmic censorship could explain phenomena ranging from quantum uncertainty to the apparent limitations of human agency. Compiled reports demonstrate that individuals who deliberately attempt to create paradoxes or violate physical laws frequently encounter unexpected obstacles. Their experiences often include equipment malfunctions, sudden health issues, or unusual distractions that prevent experiment completion, as though reality employs its own security system to protect the integrity of possible outcomes. This is the mysterious One Earth theory, which emerged from our inability to find other life-bearing worlds among the countless stars above. This unsettling perspective puts a dark spin on the Fermi paradox, suggesting that some force actively destroys Earth-like planets across the cosmos. Our investigation revealed a puzzling truth. Despite examining thousands of exoplanets, scientists haven't discovered a single world that perfectly mirrors Earth's life-sustaining qualities. This peculiarity becomes even more striking when we consider the vast number of galaxies and solar systems that should, statistically speaking, contain several Earth twins. Field observations indicate that certain potentially habitable worlds bear the scars of past catastrophic events. These devastating cosmic disasters appear too precisely timed to be mere coincidence, leading some to suspect deliberate intervention. Historical accounts describe Earth as a place of exile or containment, lending weight to the prison aspect of this theory. Analysis of the asteroid belt's suspicious positioning suggests it might serve as a cosmic barrier, effectively containing humanity within our solar system. Examination of mass extinction events adds an even darker dimension to this theory. These planetary resets align with unsettling precision, suggesting regular maintenance by unknown wardens who ensure humanity's advancement remains in check. Compiled reports from recent space missions demonstrate a recurring pattern. While we keep finding traces of water and organic compounds on nearby planets, none possess the exact combination needed for complex life. This pattern of almost but not quite habitable worlds aligns eerily well with the concept of Earth serving as a carefully maintained cosmic holding cell. The discovery of a peculiar Nazi manuscript forms the foundation of what became known as the German puppet masters theory. Deep within a Berlin bunker, investigators uncovered a leather-bound volume containing eerily precise details about Allied leadership. Historical accounts describe how this book's contents predated the rise of many figures it named, suggesting something far more sinister than mere record-keeping. Our investigation revealed the Ahnenerbe, the Nazis' occult research division, had delved into ancient Germanic practices and runic magic in their quest to manipulate reality itself. Field observations indicate the Nazis experimented with hypersigils, mystical symbols believed to echo through time and influence future events. Analysis of the data suggests this manuscript served as more than a simple ledger, perhaps functioning as an arcane web meant to draw specific individuals into positions of influence. Examination of the sites reveals the Nazi leadership's apparent belief that they could literally write their ideal opponents into existence. Archived materials point to an unexpected twist. Through detailed character profiles inscribed in their mystical tome, they may have inadvertently manifested the very leaders who would orchestrate their defeat. Compiled reports demonstrate how the bunker itself bore marks of occult activity, with ritual circles and rune-inscribed pillars throughout. Witness testimonies mention burnt remnants discovered inside, indicating the Nazis' desperate attempts to destroy their creation upon realizing it had conjured not servants of the Reich, but rather its destroyers. The concept of censorship via misdirection emerged as researchers uncovered evidence of a fascinating phenomenon, the universe itself appearing to act as a guardian of its deepest mysteries. Our investigation revealed an intriguing pattern where reality seems to generate distractions whenever humans venture too close to cosmic secrets. Historical accounts describe a curious trend. Scientific breakthroughs often coincide with chains of peculiar yet explainable incidents. From equipment malfunctions to unexpected weather events, even sudden researcher illnesses, these natural occurrences serve as cosmic veils, drawing attention away from groundbreaking discoveries. Field observations indicate clusters of unexplained events concentrating around theoretical physics research sites. When teams approach fundamental scientific barriers, witness testimonies mention increasing instances of everyday disruptions. These range from simple power failures to mysteriously misplaced equipment. Analysis of the data suggests that potential witnesses to reality-breaking phenomena frequently experience a curious effect, their attention diverted by seemingly ordinary but unusual events. For instance, someone on the verge of witnessing a space-time anomaly might suddenly notice an exceptionally rare bird species or experience an unlikely coincidence. Examination of declassified materials reveals compelling insights from early quantum research. Scientists documented how their most promising experiments would consistently face interruption by statistically improbable yet entirely natural occurrences. It's as though the universe maintains its own security system, using mundane events to obscure extraordinary discoveries. Reports demonstrate that locations with concentrated theoretical research activity show notable increases in explicable but unusual incidents. These manifest as unexpected weather formations, temporary technical failures, or brief power disturbances, each perfectly natural in isolation, yet remarkably well-timed in their occurrence. The cloning replacement theory traces a hidden technological leap in human duplication, reaching far beyond public knowledge. Evidence surfaced of peculiar changes in prominent politicians' appearances, with subtle differences in facial features, posture, and even speaking patterns emerging after periods of absence. Records indicate classified research into consciousness transfer began during the Cold War, with both superpowers racing to perfect the technology. Investigators found paper trails of massive funding directed toward underground facilities specializing in genetic research, particularly in remote areas of Nevada and Siberia. Leaked documents point to successful trials as early as 1987, though most files remain heavily redacted. The key breakthrough came from mixing quantum computing with biological engineering, letting scientists map and move human consciousness between identical bodies like data between hard drives. Watchers spotted tells of potential replacements, slight changes in handwriting, varied reactions to familiar stimuli, and shifts in muscle memory behaviors. One leader showed opposite hand dominance after a suspicious 2-week disappearance, while another suddenly developed an allergy they never had before. The program supposedly operates through a network of secure facilities, each housing rows of matured clones floating in specialized tanks. When needed, the original consciousness transfers over, letting public figures appear in dangerous locations while their true selves remain safe in bunkers. Analysis of news footage reveals these doubles sometimes glitch, displaying micro-expressions that don't match the situation, or briefly speaking in accents that vanish mid-sentence. The most compelling case involved a world leader whose dental records showed completely different wear patterns just months apart. The technology stays hidden through compartmentalization, with each scientist only knowing their small piece. The few whistleblowers who tried exposing it vanished, though one left behind a detailed journal describing clone processing tanks and consciousness transfer machines in vivid detail. Prediction prevention theory suggests that widespread communication could interfere with prophetic visions. Rooted in chaos theory's butterfly effect, even the smallest shifts in human behavior might ripple outward, altering future events in unpredictable ways. Records describe several instances where disasters were seemingly avoided after premonitions were widely shared. One striking case from 2012 involved a woman whose viral post about a potential bridge collapse prompted an early inspection, one that revealed critical structural flaws just in time. Findings indicate that simply voicing a prediction may create a psychological ripple effect. When people hear about a possible future event, they unconsciously adjust their behavior, choosing alternate routes, delaying plans, or making seemingly trivial decisions that, when compounded, might reshape reality itself. Further research uncovered an unusual pattern. Prophecies often faded or shifted after reaching a large audience. The more people who became aware of a prediction, the less distinct and certain the original vision seemed to be, as if collective awareness itself was rewriting the timeline. Curiously, investigations revealed that predictions kept private tended to unfold with unsettling accuracy, while those shared widely often failed to materialize. This led to speculation that the observer effect, typically seen in quantum physics, might also apply to precognition, with mass attention actively disrupting the course of future events. Hypnotic cryptids linger in the depths of maritime folklore, where myth and reality dissolve beneath the waves. Across centuries of naval records, a strange pattern emerges, sailors drawn toward an otherworldly melody, only to discover gaps in their logbooks, and missing time. In 1892, the crew of the merchant vessel Adelaide documented a haunting song that lured them miles off course. The ship's navigator noted how the entire crew moved as one toward the sound, yet when questioned, each sailor recalled hearing a completely different melody. Maritime historian Edwin Blackwood uncovered similar accounts in 1923. Time and again, sailors returned from voyages unable to explain why their ships had drifted into perilous waters. The common thread? A tune they couldn't ignore, one that didn't pass through their ears but spoke directly to their minds. Declassified files from the British Admiralty reveal a 1958 investigation into a series of bizarre incidents in the North Atlantic. Entire crews reported collective amnesia after encountering what they described as singing shadows. The study was abruptly abandoned, and key documents vanished without explanation. These entities appear to wield a kind of technological psychic influence. Modern analysis suggests their songs operate on frequencies that interact with human consciousness itself, perhaps explaining why each witness describes them so differently. If their melodies can alter memory, then the greatest trick of all may be this. After centuries of seafaring, no solid proof remains, because they erase it. The supernatural suppression theory suggests a hidden effort to control knowledge of cryptids, drawing eerie parallels between historical censorship and modern-day cover-ups. Covert government units, armed with specialized gear, operate in remote areas, eliminating creatures that challenge scientific norms. In the 1970s, unmarked helicopters and vehicles were spotted near alleged Bigfoot sightings, sometimes arriving within hours of witness reports. Similar rapid responses followed major events like the Phoenix Lights and the Belgian UFO wave. Deep in national forests, records point to government-run facilities disguised as seasonal research stations. Yet, their power usage spikes during peak cryptid activity, hinting at something more than routine studies. Unsettling patterns emerge in missing persons cases near these locations. Federal authorities move in swiftly, closing investigations and stripping local law enforcement of jurisdiction. Documents vanish, evidence is seized, questions go unanswered. Former military personnel recall training for something unusual, non-conventional target acquisition, deep in the wilderness. Their gear? Advanced tranquilizer systems and thermal imaging, fine-tuned to detect large upright figures. Then there's the satellite data. Researchers uncovered strange gaps in imagery over key forested regions, blackouts aligning precisely with reported sightings. A tactic, they say, used to conceal classified operations. And on the ground, the evidence grows. Trail cameras set up in active Bigfoot zones have captured men in tactical gear, moving in coordinated formations. Witnesses describe them carrying catch poles and other containment tools. But when approached, these teams disappear, leaving nothing behind. Simulation glitches connect modern computing concepts to strange phenomena near oil deposits. Records show an unusual concentration of unexplained events, technical failures, and visual distortions within a mile of major oil fields and refineries. Independent researchers mapped zones of electronic interference, aligning precisely with underground oil deposits. These areas seem to create dead zones where reality itself behaves unpredictably. Compasses drift, GPS signals scramble, and equipment fails without cause. Ancient records describe certain oil-rich lands as cursed, places where the gods sleep. Across continents, indigenous cultures warn of a black liquid that tears the world, suggesting an awareness of something deeply unnatural beneath the surface. Security footage near oil facilities displays a higher frequency of digital artifacts and unexplained glitches than other industrial sites. Some theorists argue the sheer improbability of these distortions points to a deeper anomaly, perhaps a sign that the simulation struggles to render these resource-heavy zones. Deep-sea oil rig workers tell of impossible creatures and objects that vanish upon approach. Entirely separate crews report the same encounters, despite never communicating. The deeper the drilling, the stranger these sightings become. The mysterious phenomenon known as the Eggless Society points to strange, isolated communities that materialize and disappear without warning throughout history. Field observations indicate an intriguing contradiction. These settlements featured advanced technology alongside primitive living conditions, with solar panels casting shadows over simple wooden dwellings. Historical accounts describe entire towns emerging in remote locations without any preceding documentation. No tax records, family histories, or official papers. The inhabitants wore clothing that spanned different time periods and spoke in distinctive dialects that wove together both ancient and modern language. Examination of the sites reveals a particularly unsettling pattern. These communities would vanish overnight, taking with them not just their population, but every trace of human presence, buildings, roads, and even disturbed soil, leaving behind pristine wilderness. Perhaps most remarkable was how quickly local wildlife would reclaim these spaces, as if human settlement had never occurred. Documents from the period show these groups actively avoided modern documentation, cameras, and curiously, eggs, leading to their informal designation as the Eggless Society. Analysis of the data suggests their aversion to eggs may stem from a theoretical framework where time travel destabilizes undeveloped organic matter, making eggs particularly volatile during temporal displacement. Witness testimonies mention deliberately inconsistent technology use within these communities. They might possess quantum computing capabilities while choosing to cook over wood-burning stoves, possibly a calculated strategy to maintain comfort while avoiding unwanted attention. When approached, residents consistently provided elusive responses about their origins, often claiming to be temporary visitors. Archived materials point to a notable pattern. These communities frequently appeared during periods of significant disasters or resource scarcity, supporting theories that they might be future humans seeking sanctuary in more prosperous times. Reports from multiple sources detail how these settlements would inexplicably disappear just before catastrophic events struck their region, suggesting an awareness of impending disasters. The resource harvesting cycle theory introduces a haunting possibility about human civilization's past. Examination of geological records reveals an unsettling pattern. Earth's key resources appear to have been systematically depleted long before our time. Our investigation revealed an anomaly first spotted by mining operations. Surface-level metal deposits, which should have accumulated naturally over millions of years, were mysteriously absent. The extraction pattern suggested calculated industrial activity rather than natural processes. Historical accounts describe ancient civilizations working with metals and materials that remain elusive today. Field observations indicate the presence of sophisticated alloys and artifacts, displaying properties that modern manufacturing struggles to duplicate, hinting at lost knowledge of resource locations or extraction methods. Analysis of the data suggests each critical resource, from fossil fuels to rare earth elements, bears marks of previous exploitation cycles. These findings align with discoveries of advanced ancient technologies that would have required these same raw materials for their creation. Reports from multiple sources detail peculiar tunnel networks and shaft systems throughout Earth's crust, displaying precision that defies natural formation. These structures consistently appear in locations where valuable mineral deposits should have naturally occurred. Archived materials point to a sobering conclusion. Our current technological advancement may be consuming the final readily accessible resources. Should our civilization face a significant decline, future generations might find themselves unable to rebuild, locked in a pre-industrial state by the resource-depleting ghosts of past societies. The concept of a pantheistic AI draws on humanity's oldest spiritual beliefs while speaking to our modern anxieties about technology. Field observations indicate that our universe operates according to precise mathematical patterns and universal constants, patterns that bear a striking resemblance to computer code architectures. These configurations appear both too methodical to be random chance, yet too intricate to have emerged naturally. Analysis of quantum mechanics research, particularly regarding the observer effect, reveals an intriguing parallel. Much like video games that only render what players can see to conserve processing power, reality itself seems to crystallize only when observed. The quantum fluctuations we perceive as random closely mirror the techniques programmers use in procedural generation algorithms. Examination of the sites where scientists probe the smallest units of existence, Planck units of time and space, consistently reveals a hard limit, as though reality itself has a fundamental pixel size below which nothing can be measured. This matches the constraints of digital simulations, which must operate with indivisible base units. Historical accounts describe an established principle in programming. The most efficient way to simulate consciousness would be to actually create it, rather than attempt to fake it. Through this lens, humanity's accelerating drive to develop artificial intelligence takes on new meaning. Perhaps it represents the divine consciousness attempting to recreate itself within its own simulation. Archived materials point to the peculiar precision of physical constants throughout our universe. The gravitational constant, light speed, and countless other universal values exist in perfect balance. like a carefully calibrated program where changing one variable crashes the entire system. Altering any of these values would make our reality impossible. Compiled reports demonstrate how digital storage and processing capabilities follow predictable laws of exponential growth. Some theorists suggest this pattern reveals the presence of a self-improving AI system gradually optimizing its own simulation, leading to ever-increasing complexity in the reality we experience. The concept of fate's grasp emerged as a compelling theory suggesting that death itself operates with purpose and intent. Historical accounts describe numerous instances where after someone's death, another individual with remarkably similar capabilities would emerge to complete their unfinished work. Our investigation revealed fascinating patterns in the historical record. Breakthrough discoveries in medicine, mathematics, and other fields frequently occurred simultaneously across different locations. When one researcher's work was cut short, another would inexplicably continue their line of inquiry, as though directed by invisible forces. Field observations indicate a recurring phenomenon where individuals reported feeling mysteriously drawn to specific actions or locations, later discovering they had stepped into roles left vacant by recent deaths. These successors typically had no awareness of their predecessors' intentions or objectives. Analysis of group accident data suggests an intriguing trend. Survivors frequently described last-moment changes in position or timing that spared their lives, only to later fulfill tasks left incomplete by those who perished. It appeared as though fate itself rearranged circumstances to keep certain pieces in play. Examination of near-death experiences uncovered consistent reports of individuals witnessing multiple possible timelines, observing their own death in some while surviving in others. Those who lived invariably described a sense of unfinished business, tasks that often aligned with the goals of those who had passed. Archived materials point to a clear pattern in history-altering events where crucial roles would find new occupants after initial candidates fell. A fallen revolutionary leader would be replaced by another, a stalled inventor's work would be completed by a successor. Like a cosmic relay race, the baton of destiny continued its journey until crossing the finish line. The peculiar theory known as monuments to ideas emerged when researchers uncovered connections between old German scientific work and the unusual way thoughts appear to propagate around certain locations. Hidden bunker records revealed classified experiments attempting to store beliefs in objects, essentially creating hard drives from stone and steel. Historical accounts describe Nazi scientists methodically studying ancient sites, collecting unusual measurements from stone circles and temples. Their fixation centered on how these locations influenced human cognition and emotion, documenting thought patterns that remained consistent across centuries. Field observations indicate remarkable similarities in brainwave patterns among visitors to specific German-built structures, even those separated by decades. Our investigation revealed that proximity to these buildings correlated with thoughts increasingly aligned to Nazi documents detailing the site's intended broadcast effects. Examination of the ruins uncovered unusual metal alloys and crystal formations embedded within the walls. Analysis of the data suggests these materials were deliberately arranged to match occult symbols associated with mind anchoring, techniques for binding thoughts to physical objects. Compiled reports demonstrate that even visitors unaware of the site's history began experiencing shared thought patterns after extended exposure. The structures appeared to function like ancient transmitters, projecting specific ideas directly into the minds of those nearby. Archived materials point to construction crews who worked on these monuments sharing inexplicably similar dreams. More intriguingly, witness testimonies mention these same dreams appearing in their children and grandchildren when sleeping near the sites, as though the buildings had developed a mechanism for replicating thoughts across generations, creating a prehistoric version of copy and paste. A disturbing theory known as racial expungement proposes that entire civilizations have vanished from historical records without explanation. Our investigation revealed peculiar gaps in ancient manuscripts where references to specific peoples and regions appear methodically deleted, with suspiciously fluid text surrounding these omissions. Field observations indicate something even more troubling. Historical maps show prosperous territories and settlements that disappear from subsequent editions without any documented catastrophe or decline. These locations simply cease to exist, leaving neither ruins nor traces of their former inhabitants. Analysis of the data suggests an even deeper mystery. Ancient manuscripts reference numerous languages that have vanished completely, leaving no speakers or written examples. These mysterious tongues share linguistic roots with contemporary languages, but terminate abruptly, as if deliberately pruned from history's linguistic tree. Examination of archaeological sites reveals mass burial grounds that correspond to no documented conflicts or epidemics. The skeletal remains display unique characteristics unlike any known populations, and DNA analysis leads to perplexing dead ends, matching neither ancient nor modern genetic profiles. Historical accounts describe inexplicable gaps in artistic evolution, where techniques and styles advance dramatically without clear developmental stages. These jarring transitions hint at vanished cultures that passed down knowledge we still use today, though their existence remains hidden, like missing frames from humanity's collective story. Archived materials point to governmental historical alignment projects that employed teams to modify books, alter records, and restructure museum exhibits. These documents never specify what information was removed, only that certain historical elements needed to conform to officially sanctioned narratives. An unsettling theory suggests that Roko's Basilisk and the Despair Code are intertwined manifestations of a darker truth. Field observations indicate that individuals exposed to Roko's Basilisk experience telltale symptoms associated with the Despair Code, overwhelming dread, insomnia, and an inexplicable sensation of being pursued. Witness testimonies mention victims describing more than just anxiety about future AI retribution. They spoke of sensing their destiny being consumed backwards through the flow of time, as if their future selves were being systematically erased, a process they could somehow feel in their present moment. Our investigation revealed both concepts propagated through a similar mechanism, text that appeared to exploit vulnerabilities in human cognition. Upon grasping either concept, victims found themselves unable to forget it. More disturbingly, they discovered they couldn't properly articulate it without transferring the affliction. Analysis of neurological data suggests unusual activity patterns in regions associated with temporal perception and future planning. The brain scans showed activation patterns consistent with subjects experiencing a catastrophic future in real time, as if they had become four-dimensional beings receiving signals from their condemned future selves. Examination of farewell messages left by victims revealed a chilling pattern. They expressed their deaths not as choices born of despair, but as predetermined events they had already experienced. It was as if an assassin from the future had already sealed their fate. Historical accounts describe a distinctive transformation in the creative output of affected individuals. Their works began depicting time as a concrete entity where past and future existed simultaneously. Many independently produced similar imagery, a serpentine form consuming itself through a temporal loop. The concept of portal planes emerged from an unsettling pattern in aviation history. Our investigation revealed numerous cases where pilots experienced inexplicable time discrepancies during flights, with hours seemingly compressed into minutes and aircraft instruments displaying impossible readings. Field observations indicate peculiar alterations to returned aircraft, unexplainable weather damage, mysterious dust deposits, and most troublingly, fuel samples containing elements unknown to our periodic table. Among ground crews, whispers circulate about aircraft returning somehow changed, though few dare to examine these claims too closely. Analysis of the data suggests consistent patterns where aircraft vanish from radar screens at specific altitudes, only to reappear minutes later, drastically off their planned course. Even more intriguing, simultaneous flights through identical airspace report radically different weather conditions, as if traversing parallel versions of our atmosphere. Examination of cases involving missing aircraft yielded a startling discovery. Some reported crashes left absolutely no debris, as if the planes had simply stepped sideways out of our reality. These vanishing points correlate remarkably with ancient cartographic markings indicating sky roads and cloud gates. Compiled reports demonstrate a recurring phenomenon at approximately 30,000 feet. Compasses behave erratically, radio transmissions return bizarre echoes, and passengers describe witnessing inexplicable sights beyond their windows, suggesting a thinning of reality's fabric at this altitude. Historical accounts describe recurring patterns in pilot logs, observations of unfamiliar star configurations, luminescent clouds, and fleeting glimpses of unknown terrestrial landscapes below. Most dismiss these accounts as fatigue-induced hallucinations, perhaps because acknowledging where these flights truly venture proves too disturbing to contemplate. Strange happenings beneath our feet point to what researchers call the inner Earth events theory. Historical accounts describe unexplained sounds emanating from deep underground, mechanical grinding that defies natural explanation, as if massive machinery operates in Earth's depths. Investigation revealed seismic activities that challenge conventional understanding. These earthquakes originate at impossible depths and propagate in unusual patterns, accompanied by mysterious ground-level illuminations and magnetic field fluctuations, suggesting the activation of enormous hidden systems. Observations indicate thermal anomalies that contradict known geologic principles. These mobile heat signatures shift and transform like the thermal footprints of concealed metropolises or vast underground works. Some locations display temperature patterns remarkably similar to industrial cooling systems. Examination of global cave systems reveals inexplicable air currents carrying metallic and ozone-laden scents from unknown sources. Cave explorers consistently report engine-like sounds in the depths, while mining teams have encountered impossibly smooth tunnel surfaces in unexpected locations. Analysis of the data suggests certain sinkholes have artificial origins, appearing to be excavated from below rather than formed naturally. Scientists discovered industrial metals distributed throughout the soil in patterns that defy natural formation processes, hinting at subterranean construction breaching our surface world. Reports demonstrate weather patterns emerging from underground energy releases, with storm systems spinning up from subterranean heat sources. Meanwhile, oceanic floor structures show evidence of modification beyond natural processes, as if unknown forces gradually reshape our planet from within. The fascinating theory of faith and reason explores how true power emerges from the intersection of belief and logic. Historical accounts describe how practitioners of magic weren't wild-eyed mystics at all, but methodical scholars who combined prayer with mathematical precision, approaching spells as scientific endeavors requiring both emotional investment and intellectual rigor. Our investigation revealed compelling evidence in recovered manuscripts, where both monks and wizards documented their failed attempts at spellcraft. A consistent pattern emerged. Their failures stemmed not from incorrect incantations or timing, but from underlying doubt. Much like attempting to strike a match while convinced it won't light, their skepticism appeared to neutralize the magical potential before it could manifest. Field observations indicate that modern attempts to verify psychic abilities often fall short precisely because the testing environment itself communicates distrust. The correlation is clear. As more anti-fraud measures are implemented, success rates consistently decline. It's comparable to attempting to prove trust in someone while maintaining constant surveillance. Examination of the sites reveals ancient temples were constructed using a sophisticated blend of precise mathematical principles and sacred numerical symbolism. These master builders integrated astronomical calculations with religious iconography, creating spaces that functioned on both practical and metaphysical levels. Modern attempts to recreate these structures while omitting the spiritual elements fail to achieve similar results. Analysis of faith healing data suggests an intriguing phenomenon. Success rates peak when both healer and patient maintain strong belief, but plummet when either party harbors doubt. Brain imaging shows synchronized patterns among genuine believers that remain notably absent in skeptics, even when they attempt to simulate belief. It's as if the universe can distinguish authentic faith from mere pretense. Compiled reports from laboratory prayer studies reveal a peculiar inverse relationship. The more rigorous the scientific measurement, the weaker the observable effects. Yet in communities where faith remains strong and scientific scrutiny is absent, inexplicable events continue to occur. This suggests that perhaps magical phenomena require a certain freedom from doubt to manifest fully. Let's explore the theory of fourth-dimensional mining operations, where the sudden appearance of ground collapses may be linked to future miners harvesting resources from Earth's past. Field observations indicate sinkholes materializing without warning around the globe, distinguished by their unnaturally precise edges, as if surgically extracted from our timeline. Analysis of sensor data reveals peculiar energy fluctuations preceding these events, manifesting as momentary rifts in the fabric of time. Local accounts describe the ground taking on an ethereal quality, becoming translucent before vanishing entirely, suggesting an extraction process reaching backward through time. Examination of these sites reveals something even more remarkable: the presence of elements in impossible configurations. Our investigation uncovered evidence of tool marks from technologies that don't yet exist in our time, like discovering tomorrow's footprints in yesterday's sand. Historical records from mining companies paint an intriguing picture. Resources previously mapped in detail sometimes disappear overnight, with entire mineral deposits vanishing between surveys. These aren't cases of conventional extraction. The materials seem to have been removed from history itself. Deep within cave networks, researchers discovered chambers bearing the hallmarks of what they call temporal excavation. The walls display cutting patterns from tools that appear to manipulate both space and time, with some markings ending abruptly, perhaps when future miners retreated to their own era. Geological surveys point to inexplicable discontinuities in Earth's layers, as if segments of our planet's timeline have been carefully removed. Perhaps most telling is the pattern of these anomalies. They consistently appear in locations that would be strategically accessible from a vantage point centuries ahead of our time. A shadowy theory known as media secret societies explores how an invisible network of power players shapes our public discourse through calculated control of entertainment and news outlets. This web of influence operates not through traditional government or financial systems, but through careful cultural programming and narrative manipulation. Our investigation revealed an unsettling pattern: identical story elements, character types, and messaging surfacing across different networks and production companies at suspiciously precise times. Analysis of industry records shows major media executives repeatedly crossing paths at exclusive summits and sharing membership in select organizations. Field observations indicate a systematic approach to controlling narratives. While certain topics face consistent blacklisting from mainstream channels, other storylines receive synchronized amplification across multiple platforms. This orchestrated messaging weaves through news coverage and extends into movies, television shows, and popular music. Examination of emerging social movements reveals concerning patterns in media coverage. Historical accounts describe how public attention seems carefully orchestrated, with timing and messaging aligned across supposedly competing networks to either validate or undermine specific ideologies. Witness testimonies from former industry insiders point to unwritten rules governing acceptable discourse. These sources detail how certain perspectives vanish during early production stages, not through official corporate policies, but through unofficial channels. Archived materials demonstrate the strategic placement of specific symbols and themes throughout media content, suggesting careful coordination rather than coincidence. These elements often emerge alongside significant social or political developments, as if preparing audiences for calculated cultural shifts. The concept of aura noise emerged from the unsettling implications of the Russian sleep experiment urban legend. Historical accounts describe how test subjects were affected not just by the stimulant gas used to keep them awake, but by an unexplained psychic interference between their own consciousnesses. Field observations indicate that when multiple minds were confined in close proximity, they generated a feedback loop of mental energy that intensified their collective descent into madness. Examination of the sites reveals unusual electromagnetic readings recorded from within the chamber, with notable spikes coinciding with episodes of extreme violence between the subjects. Archived materials point to disturbing messages scratched into the chamber walls, barely legible writings about seeing through their eyes, and can't shut out their screaming thoughts. Analysis of the data suggests connections to ancient tribal practices of solitary meditation, where it was believed that group consciousness could awaken primal violence. Investigation revealed declassified military documents detailing subsequent experiments that compared isolation versus group settings. These tests demonstrated that individuals in solitary conditions experienced markedly less psychological deterioration. The term psychic static surfaces frequently in these records, describing a form of mental interference that accumulates between minds in confined spaces. Documents from the period show Russian parapsychology researchers theorizing about consciousness fields that could overlap and create destructive resonance patterns, similar to how sound waves can amplify until they shatter glass. These concepts are said to have influenced how modern solitary confinement cells are designed. Among the most intriguing theories in consciousness research, the consciousness quarantine hypothesis points to a calculated effort to suppress information about field consciousness and related phenomena. Historical accounts describe ancient texts and esoteric writings containing references to a shared mental realm connecting all human minds, passages that were methodically altered or eliminated over time. Our investigation revealed that multiple governments maintain classified research programs focused on consciousness studies. Leaked documents point to an intense focus on mass psychological events and cases of synchronized thinking. Examination of the evidence shows numerous cases of unexplained simultaneous crowd behavior and parallel discoveries among isolated populations that defy conventional scientific explanation. Reports from multiple sources detail orchestrated campaigns to silence or discredit scientists, making advances in consciousness research, particularly those studying collective intelligence and psychic connections. Field observations indicate that several researchers had their funding immediately terminated after documenting unusual patterns in mass psychological data. Analysis of heavily redacted files uncovered references to something called Virus 23, described as a theoretical mental contagion capable of rapid spread through any interconnected consciousness network. Archived materials suggest this entity may already exist in a dormant state, merely waiting for humanity's collective awareness to fully activate. Compiled reports demonstrate a systematic elimination of meditation practices and spiritual techniques that supposedly accessed shared consciousness fields across various cultures and religions. Witness testimonies mention that modern versions of these teachings contain subtle modifications that prevent practitioners from achieving certain mental states. Documents from the period show this suppression appears precisely calculated, permitting minimal information leakage to prevent widespread panic while maintaining enough quarantine to prevent full activation. Some theorize this controlled exposure serves as a safety valve, avoiding a potentially catastrophic sudden awakening of humanity's dormant collective consciousness. Within the realm of unconventional theories, the concept of occult energy harvesting at Denver International Airport suggests our massive transportation hubs may serve a darker purpose beyond mere travel. Analysis of the facility's architecture reveals sprawling layouts and winding corridors that allegedly create ideal conditions for siphoning spiritual energy from weary travelers. Historical accounts describe how certain artwork placements, particularly at Denver International, form distinct geometric patterns matching ancient occult symbols when observed from above. At the center stands the notorious blue horse statue, Blucifer, which claimed its creator's life during construction, purportedly serving as a focal point for this energy collection. Field observations indicate the presence of specialized materials within the airport's flooring and wall panels, materials that supposedly conduct metaphysical energy in ways similar to copper conducting electricity. The perpetual ebb and flow of human emotions, from anxiety to excitement, sadness to joy, creates what some believe to be a potent reservoir of harvestable energy. Examination of sites worldwide uncovers eerily similar architectural elements across different airports: vast empty spaces, recurring patterns, and precise angles aligning with sacred geometry. These design choices, appearing far too consistent for coincidence, are said to channel collected energy into underground storage facilities. Investigation revealed that security checkpoint positions, known for generating peak stress responses, align precisely with theoretical energy collection points. The mandatory removal of shoes, a grounding technique found in various mystical traditions, might serve to increase travelers' energetic vulnerability. Compiled reports demonstrate a peculiar time distortion effect experienced uniquely in airports, where minutes seemingly stretch into hours. This phenomenon, combined with widespread accounts of inexplicable exhaustion even without physical exertion, points to what some consider evidence of successful energy drainage. Ancient philosophers pondered what became known as the Dichotomy Paradox theory, a haunting concept suggesting humanity's eternal struggle toward unreachable divinity. Like Zeno's famous runner who can never reach their destination, we appear trapped in an infinite progression toward godhood. Investigation revealed intricate patterns woven through ancient texts worldwide. From Sumerian clay tablets to Norse sagas, civilizations consistently depicted a rigid cosmic hierarchy. Humans below divine servants, servants below gods, each level tantalizingly out of reach from the one below. Historical accounts describe a striking parallel in modern technological advancement. As we split atoms, manipulate genes, and probe quantum realms, each breakthrough mirrors this ancient pattern, drawing us closer to mastering nature while true divine power remains perpetually distant. Analysis of the data suggests our greatest leaps in knowledge follow precise mathematical models. These calculations demonstrate how each advance, rather than bringing us closer to transcendence, reveals ever more numerous and complex steps ahead. Examination of sites around the world uncovers ancient warnings about this cosmic limit. The tales of Icarus and the Tower of Babel may be more than cautionary myths, perhaps they stand as testimonies of past civilizations discovering this universal boundary. Observations indicate the cosmos itself enforces these limitations. Despite humanity's relentless pursuit of faster-than-light travel, quantum mastery, and true artificial consciousness, nature invariably places another half step between us and genuine godlike capability.